Welcome, Clayton, and thank you for viewing my Clayton High School Junior College Planning presentation. I'm going to talk to you today about everything about college planning as it relates to juniors and some things that we're going to be doing or have done. So let's get things started. First, the Clayton High School Guidance Department and the people that are involved, of course, myself, Joe Valentino, Supervisor of Guidance and Counseling, and then our counselors, high school counselors, Tyler Fruits, who has anybody with last names that start letters A through K, Ashley Smith, any students that have letters L through Z as their last name starts, and Mary Hartley, our Guidance Secretary. So let's talk about what's been done up to this point. We have, for the junior class, last year, we did Naviance career assessments with the 10th grade. We also do that with them as 9th graders as well. Basically trying to get them thinking a little bit about what they want to do as far as a field of work after they get done high school. And just to let you know, you see there in parentheses that it is actually School Links moving forward. So we've actually switched over from the product of Naviance to School Links. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the presentation. So that was last year, and then this year we had the PSAT administration in October that all juniors get to sit for here for free. And RCSJ's presentation is coming April the 13th. That is a presentation to the entire junior class. We let RCSJ kind of be the first college to kind of, basically pitch their programs to the juniors. And then the counselors will be presenting in the junior English classes a lot of the same information I'm about to give you in this presentation today. So let's talk about that PSAT that they took in October. So the total score represents what you would have on the SAT had it been taken on the same date under the same conditions. Okay, so it's not to say it automatically means the same score on the SAT because they learn more. Conditions could be different when they take the SAT. There's a website there. You can go to that website to create a College Board account and directions to link College Board to Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a way that students can get practice for the SAT based off of their PSAT results. Directly relates to their strengths and weaknesses from the PSAT that they took in October. And just important, use created account to sign in for the SAT. Do not create a new account. What happens is if the students create a new account, it could create duplicate accounts at College Board, and not that we can't work with that and call College Board to get that fixed up, but it just creates a little bit of a hassle. So just important not to create dual accounts when they sign into College Board. So next you see just a screen from the College Board website. All right, you'll see something like this about with practice. You see there start practicing to take a full adaptive digital PSAT test with Khan Academy. And this screen basically shows you what happens when you click on that and you start heading towards setting up free practice testing with Khan Academy. And again, it's a great resource. A lot of times SAT practice can be very expensive. However, this is all free. If your student took the PSAT in the fall, which pretty much most juniors would have. So let's talk about the SAT and also the ACT, which is another standardized test for college acceptance. So again, we have them here. SAT is what's known mostly on the East Coast. It's one we're most familiar with. Basically, that is a reasoning test, and it is measuring critical reading, math, writing. It's a test that colleges use for acceptance. However, the ACT test is another test that's used, same purpose, okay? It's an academic achievement test in math, English, science, reading, and writing. There is an equivalency chart for basically what you would get on the SAT, what it would be for the ACT, okay, and vice versa. And generally, of trying to figure out which one to take. They never happen on the same dates. They're set for the Saturday administrations of them. And really, most colleges are going to use the one that reflects best for your child for college admissions. Okay, so really never hurts to take both. Okay, I'm going to talk about some test dates coming up here in a minute. Definitely very important screen here, okay, with this presentation. All college-bound juniors, you really need to sit for the SAT and or ACT for the first time during junior year, okay? College application, the season for filling out college applications for the seniors, for the coming year, for when they're seniors, starts pretty early. And it's a good idea to get a set of SAT or ACT scores or both for the first time in junior year. A little bit behind if you're starting out for the first time taking SAT or ACT at the beginning of senior year. So again, very important screen here. If at all thinking about four-year colleges, please have your child sit for the SAT and or ACT for the first time junior year. And that being said, here's some dates that we have coming up in the spring of 2026. So March 14th, registration by February the 27th. And the May 2nd date, registration by April the 17th. That is the sitting that we offer at Clayton. Now, the other ones certainly you can take in other schools. Some of the bigger schools offer more sittings of the SAT, but ours, if you want your child to take the SAT at Clayton High School, it's the May 2nd one, and by the time this presentation gets released, there will still be plenty of time to sign up by the April 17th date. And then there's a sitting on June the 6th. By the way, these are all Saturday dates, okay? They are national dates set by College Board. Registration by May the 22nd. And for those that are kind of want to know ahead about some other testing dates that come up, College Board has actually added some dates in years past. There is an SAT date, August 22nd, 2026. September the 12th, 2026, and the first one, or I should say the second one in the school year, the October 3rd one in 2026. Again, all Saturday dates. And now, just to know that all SAT tests they're now administered digitally, no longer paper tests. So the ACT dates, April the 11th, registered by March the 6th, June the 13th, registered by May 8th, and July the 11th, registered by June the 5th. And just note, the ACT is not offered at Clayton High School. We just don't have enough students that take the ACT here. As I said on a previous screen, SAT is what's more widely known on the East Coast. However, a lot of colleges Midwest and colleges on the West Coast, they are more familiar with the ACT. Okay, so again, especially if your child is thinking about a school, kind of west of us, they may really want to consider taking the ACT. Again, some of the other bigger high schools will offer the sittings. I know RCSJ offers a sitting of the ACT for every administration. Okay, if that's an option that your child wanted to do. So let's talk about some things to look for in a college. And this kind of, something I want to say to start is, junior year is very much, second half of junior year, is very much a research mode for the students, okay? It's about just looking, researching, starting to get colleges on their list that they're thinking about. I really wouldn't be applying this year, okay? But it's a big research year, the second half of the year, junior year, okay? And some of the variables that come into play for college, certainly location, size, okay? Majors, programs, extracurricular activities and sports, selectivity, meaning how hard is it to get into the college for admissions, and a faculty to student ratio, whether the student wants that big, small, that kind of thing. Really, colleges vary like people do, okay? And to say what fits for a student really depends on the student and what they're looking for. Some would like a very large campus, some would be intimidated by a large campus, okay? Some want to play sports, some don't want to play sports, okay? So very important to do the research. This should be broad right now, no doubt. And and this is just some of the variables they can look at as far as research. Then also we have types of colleges, okay? Whether or not we're talking about a junior or two-year. Certainly the most common two-year college that we know of here at Clayton is our RCSJ, Rowan College of South Jersey. As I mentioned earlier, they'll be coming to see us in the spring. Public and private institutions, all right? A lot of times public institutions are the cheaper option, New Jersey public, state public schools. And private schools are a little bit more expensive. However, sometimes private schools will also give out more money in scholarships based on that. So I would advocate not so much looking at cost right now during this stage. That will kind of come later. There are religious affiliation colleges, okay, Catholic universities, things like that, okay. HBCU, historically black colleges and universities, we run a trip in the fall. It'll be in the fall of the senior year to the HBCU college fair, where it's one of our greatest trips that we have during the school year, where students will get acceptances right on the spot. And then we have Ivy League schools. These are some of the schools that are the really highly selective schools throughout the country. Okay, so this is also something to kind of take a look at when doing research. And speaking of research, my screen with the opening page for School Links. Now, as I said earlier, in an earlier screen, that School Links we have now starting this year have replaced Naviance with School Links. We love the features, and for your children that are in junior year, okay, the big thing that they will use School Links for, no doubt, is going to be for research in colleges. There's search engines in School Links, just like there were search engines in Naviance, where they can put in some of these variables and many more, okay? And basically, School Links will spit out a list of colleges that meet the criteria, okay? No longer, back when I was young, you had to look through many books and kind of research that way. Now it is so much easier with tools like School Links, okay? So please talk to your child. They should be able to log into School Links, and certainly we're going to be, it's one of the things the counselors will be doing with the juniors in the junior English classes, showing them how to log into School Links and to utilize that. So we advocate for you to take a look at that as well. So next, let's talk about types of admissions for college, okay? So we have rolling admissions colleges. Now, basically, those colleges, they are, as the applications come in, they process decisions and they get them out. A lot of times, students want to do the rolling admission ones before regular admission deadlines. A lot of times, they'll hear a decision about rolling admissions colleges before regular decision. And what the difference is, regular admission types, they actually have a date, a certain due date for the applications to be in by, okay? And they don't make their decisions until after that date, that deadline for the applications, okay? Also want to mention that with rolling admissions colleges, okay, sometimes it is rolling admissions, but they may have an actual date that you have to do the application by in order to be considered for their merit-based scholarships, okay? So even if it's a rolling admissions, sometimes they might have a date saying, okay, they have to have the application in by a certain date for scholarship consideration. I know Rutgers University is a school like that, okay? So you want to be aware of that. Then early decision and early action. Early decision and early action gives the student a little bit of consideration for hitting an earlier deadline. Often with these schools with early decision and early action, there is a later date, a regular decision date that's set late in the future, but basically they're given some consideration for a child hitting the early deadline, okay? Now, often early decision, I should say early action is not binding, but early decision you want to watch for, okay? And I'm going to talk about on the next screen about early decision and what it means there. Okay, so very important when applying to schools that are early decision. Early decision is the application process in which students make a commitment to a first choice institution. So if they are admitted, they will definitely enroll, okay? While pursuing admission under an early decision plan, students may apply to other institutions, but may have only one early decision application pending at one time. So therefore, what this really means is, if they're applying early decision to a school, what basically they're signing up for is if they get accepted, they are basically bound to go to that school. Okay, so really how I describe it to students is if you're doing an early decision school with a binding application, you want to make sure it's the school of your dreams. Okay, that basically you wouldn't look at any other schools if in fact they give you the decision that they're going to accept you. And for that reason, additionally, if applying to a school that is early decision, we really want to set up a parent-student meeting, the counselors, okay? It's got to be scheduled because we want to make sure that a student and parent know exactly what the student is signing up for, okay? So, again, can be a great opportunity for the right student. Going early decision binding should definitely be the school of your dreams. Won't look at any other schools if you get accepted. So I said in an earlier screen, right now, the list of schools for your child should be broad, okay? And basically, we ask that, or we kind of recommend that they kind of put the schools that they're looking at in three categories here. Reach schools are schools that maybe are a little bit above where your child's criteria are from an academic standpoint, okay, where it basically the selectivity is a little higher than it might seem, where it's not quite the profile where your child fits, okay, but I have seen dreams come true, and students have gotten accepted into Reach schools before. Sometimes if their GPA isn't quite where it needs to be, something like letter of recommendation could make the difference, okay? So don't discount those Reach schools, but certainly you want to be kind of aware which schools fall into that bucket. Target schools are the schools that kind of like meet perfectly with the child's criteria, and then having a couple of safety schools in there where it's a pretty safe bet that based on the criteria, what the school's looking at, that they would get accepted. We really have all the seniors do an application to RCSJ no matter what. That kind of could be considered a safety school for some students, okay? Whereas just being a Gloucester County resident means that they are accepted and can go into RCSJ, okay? So again, I'm saying here that last line that the list should be broad. You want to check out every lead. Time for narrowing the list will come later, okay? And again, I did mention earlier, especially right now with the idea of cost, because sometimes something that looks really expensive, scholarships that could be obtained maybe might make that school not as expensive, okay? But the time for narrowing the list will certainly come later as we're getting towards senior year. All right, very important. Another very important screen here about the college visit, okay? You see there, my last line, you want to always be asking, student wants to be asking, can I see myself here for the next 4 years? And it's the way to know that, okay, is certainly by experiencing the college prior to just going for the first time, okay? And best would be prior to actually doing the application too, okay? So how can you do that? Well, colleges have open houses. I know on a few screens from now, I'm going to be talking about the RCSJ open houses and the dates, for example, okay? Individual and group tours, all right? This is as easy as reaching out to the admissions office right through the website of a college, finding out when they do individual and group tours, okay? And actually going to the college and, taking a look around, asking questions, things like that. And then if not being able to make it to a college, maybe it's a college that's far away, virtual tours. A lot of colleges will have virtual tours right through their website, okay, which certainly can help do the trick. And then college fairs, okay, I'm going to talk about a big one that happens in October in a little bit. But college fairs, you can go to, generally what they are is you go there, colleges are represented, and you could ask all your questions from a college rep, and there's many colleges at these college fairs where you can get information about a lot of different colleges at one time, okay? So these are definitely ways in which a student can experience the college prior to applying, and certainly prior to, going to the college. All right, very important. My juniors out there that are listening to this presentation and your parents, keep up your grades. Okay, I mentioned about the college application starts quickly at the beginning of senior year. Junior year cumulative GPA, okay? It's part of what colleges look at for acceptance. I would argue it's probably the biggest thing that colleges look for acceptance, all right? kind of think of it this way. It is the last shot you have to pad your GPA to get it kind of higher prior to the colleges making decisions on you. Finish strong. It really can make the difference, all right, as far as whether or not you get accepted or denied into colleges, okay? Okay, so some dates to remember. Very important dates here. March the 4th, 2026. That is the open house of Rowan College of South Jersey. Spring open house, and that is the Gloucester County campus one, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Then we have March the 11th, 2026, the Rowan College of South Jersey Spring Open House for the Cumberland campus. They have a few different programs at Cumberland. You can always ask your school counselor if you want to find out which programs are offered at which campus. That one, again, 5 to 7 p.m. on March the 11th. Then April the 17th, I mentioned, that is the date to sign up for the May the 2nd SAT administration at Clayton High School. And April the 13th, that's the date that RCSJ is going to visit here at Clayton High School with all the juniors. Nothing they have to do. We're going to automatically have them come to the meeting. Okay, nothing they have to sign up for. And then that big college fair I was talking about, which is on October the 8th. That is the Gloucester County College Fair that happens at RCSJ. Our own Ashley Smith is the college fair chairperson for that, and she runs a very nice college fair. We usually have over 100 colleges that attend, okay? So again, some very important dates to know. We put a lot of information out on our Clayton High School Guidance X account, formerly was Twitter. Advocate for you to sign up for that at Clayton Guidance, all right? And again, we do post a lot of information that way. So summertime, what should you do? This is a great time, summertime, to visit schools, have vacation plans. Vacation plans can include stops at colleges. All right, colleges often they may not have many students on campus, but a lot of times they have summer classes going on. They can accommodate you as far as visits. Refine your list. This is around the time, especially the second half of the summer, where you start doing a little refining, kind of maybe eliminating some colleges that aren't going to work, okay, things like that. Very important, look at deadlines. Colleges are not very forgiving when it comes to deadlines, all right? Please make sure that's deadline. They know what the deadlines are, that they don't sneak up on the student. Start organizing what you will need to apply in the fall. Okay, like I say, the college application process starts pretty early in the fall. Okay, so you want to start organizing a little bit in the summer. And very important note, we don't disappear in the summer. Give us a call. Counselors have some scattered days in the summer that they're here. Okay, I supervise our guidance here in the summer. So if you have any questions, don't want you to think that you don't have anybody to reach out to in the summertime. Okay, so this is the last screen of my presentation, and it's actually kind of leaving you right at the door for the senior college presentation that I put up on our website in the fall. Okay, this is actually one of the first screens of the senior college presentation. Okay, just parts of a four-year college application. So just to start thinking about things that will be needed for a four-year application. The application, of course, that's done pretty much exclusively online these days. An official transcript. Every college is going to want an official transcript, an initial transcript having that GPA up through the end of junior year, like I talked about, okay, to start making some decisions. SAT or ACT scores, if required. Many colleges want them. Many colleges these days don't. Letters of recommendation, again, if required. Okay, some colleges want them, some colleges don't. College essay, same thing, if required. And then an application fee. Usually there's some kind of a fee to apply to the colleges, basically just for applying, $60, $70, $50, some things like that. Often if you go to visit a college, they'll give you a fee waiver for that. Okay, so that's a nice little way to save a little bit of money. But these are the parts of a four-year college application that are that you want to be thinking about. And we've come to the end of the presentation. I want to thank you so much for viewing the presentation, and good luck. Remember, we are here. If you have any questions, give us a call. Thank you so much.